It's a big day on the CHGO Bears Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download that app. Use that promo code CHGO when you sign up. What's going on, Bears fans? It's a new era. We are wearing jackets.
That's right.
Because it's important. Right?
It's very weird.
It's important. I didn't get... Yeah, I should have worn my jacket, guys.
No, you
dressed up at Halas Hall? What did you change?
Just my shoes.
Oh. You changed the shoes.
Changed the shoes. Knew it was coming on the show, so.
I mean, Hoge was dressed up. I had to dress up. Nick picked me up at the train. The Bears have a
I didn't get the memo.
New CEO and president. Lawrence is hobbling around. Somebody needs to come over here and
my back.
give him a...
Not great.
You still in pain?
Guys, it's weird. It's weird to see you at this hour. I'm confused doing the show right now.
Yeah, it's a later show. Thank you for everybody who's waited so patiently.
Normally, we got a super chat already.
We're at noon, but the press conference was at noon. We had big things we had to cover, questions that had to be asked and answered, and we have a one-on-one sit-down with Kevin Warren coming up here very soon as well. Let's get the super chat, though, right off the bat here from Chris. I can't function at work without y'all's podcast. I was missing it today at 12.
Ditto.
Sorry,
We missed you, too, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. We
but
appreciate it.
But you're still here, and it's 5, and I promise you the show is much better now than it would have been at noon as that press conference was happening. So let's jump right in, guys. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Nicholas Moreano with you. What are your biggest takeaways?
So I knew that I was going to be impressed, and I knew that they were making a good hire, and I knew it was a step or 2 or 7 up the rung on the ladder from where they were at, with all due respect to where they were at. But I thought that Kevin Warren just absolutely crushed it, and it just feels like, oh, my God, this is – you finally have someone who's running your franchise who is going to – lift you to places that you just have not been to. That's what it feels like to me. I think it was just an absolutely glorious day for the Bears fans, the whole thing. I thought he couldn't have been more impressive, and he just seems solid. Like it's not fluff. This is who this guy is, and you look at what he's done. It just felt like a great day for the Bears.
Yeah, we knew he was going to be a good communicator. We had Adam Rittenberg on, earlier last week, and he can communicate with high officials, but he articulated his thoughts in a well-thought-out way. And when he said that for him to move on from the Big Ten, he had to leave that role in a demonstratively better position than it was before he left there, that's why he took the position with the Bears. That's what he wants to do with this Bears organization. Like you were just saying, Mark, take them to another level. And when you hear him say these kind of things, he'd go into the Bears-Eagles game. Like he wants to get a feel for this fan base, feel exactly what it's like. And I think as for the Bears fans that watched, you're kind of getting a sense of the guy that the Bears now have as a president and CEO. So, like you, I was really impressed what he had to say and how he was able to articulate everything that he wanted to do here.
I see in the comments that everyone's talking about the whys, which did come up today, and that was a little moment for Matt Nagy and company. But, I mean, I asked him, one of my questions was, basically how did this come to be? Because there was a little bit of a narrative out there that he was tired of the college experience, that it had worn him down or whatever, and that he was, that he basically was, looking to get out. He didn't contact the Bears. He only told his wife, and they came after him. He was on the Bears list. He was on their search firm's list, and he was excited about the opportunity. So it wasn't like he was racing out the door at the Big Ten, and he did leave the Big Ten in a better place, in a way better place, as much as, by the way, I hate USC and UCLA being a part of the Big Ten because that's ridiculous. But that is college sports right now, and he set him up with an incredible TV deal. So, I mean, the dude's good at his job, period, end of story.
Yeah, no, and I think that you at least saw a glimpse, you saw that energy today from Kevin Warren that everyone talks about. Like if you talk to people who've worked with them, who have, whether that's directly or just on partnerships, they talk about how he's, in fact, one Big Ten source of mine said, he's a lot. That's how it was phrased. And I think that that's a good thing on a more micro level when you're working with like one franchise. Does that make sense? I think where maybe that perhaps if there was any types of friction or questions about the fit with the Big Ten, I think that comes in more of a perhaps could be more problematic when you're in like this very regimented, old school NCAA chancellors, presidents. Like, think about all these people that you're dealing with on a daily basis.
Idiots in the orange blazers and different colored blazers for all the bowl committees.
And they got their way of doing things, and this guy comes in with all these grand ideas, and maybe, you know, they become intimidated by that. I don't know. But at the end of the day, $8 billion media rights deal with 3 of the 4 major networks. I love what he said about that today. Why can't we do that?
And
why not?
And did anybody was it ever even remotely rumored that USC and UCLA were leaving the Pac-12 for the Big Ten?
And then it just came out.
The day that it just happened. Yeah, the Big Ten just got USC and UCLA. I'm like, that can't be a real story. There's no way that just happened.
Yeah.
And so you just got the 2 biggest properties out of the Pac-12 and you expanded the conference from coast to coast. I hate it again, but like business-wise, that's like pure genius. And then okay, now here comes the TV deal.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him so different. And that's exactly what I think the Bears really needed. Somebody that can go outside the box. And when you mention like USC, UCLA, like you said, you didn't expect that to come out of nowhere, but it did. And that's what Kevin Warren brings, some outside thinking that is much needed for this Bears organization to take that next step.
Let me throw this one in there too. You learn throughout life, and it took me a long time to get there, that if you are focused on lifting those up around you, it's going to lift you up too. And here is a guy who's the president and the CEO who's calling himself an intern, his first day of his internship, and that, quote-unquote, he's here to serve. That's a guy who gets literally every role in the organization. That's a guy who's not going to be so focused on I'm this and that. I'm the title. And it's refreshing, man. That's the type of guy you want to be working for. That's the type of guy that can inspire within a building.
Yep. As long as he follows through with all that, right? You know, it's
yeah, sure.
Winning the first press conference doesn't mean you win the job. I've covered a lot of these inside that auditorium,
right? But like even how
but this is different, and I fully agree. Like it even felt different when George came back up to talk.
Right?
Like it was like, okay.
Yeah. Hey, George. What do you say to Bears fans about that still want you to play in Chicago? We'll be here for another 103 years, George. Come on, George. Come on, man. You're either. I say that I'm going to miss Soldier Field too, and that this is a hard decision for us if this is how it ends up going. And I've loved being in Chicago, but we're going to build the best possible thing wherever we go, and we get the people that don't want change, because I have a hard time with it too. That would have been fine. We'll be here for no, George. You can't rewrite the geographical boundaries. That's Arlington Heights.
Well, they did it for O'Hare. Why can't they do it for Arlington Heights? Just add a little strip of land between O'Hare and Arlington Heights, right up the highway, and then connect it all.
Figured it out.
We love you, George.
And then they're in Chicago. Problem solved.
I got it.
All right. I had a chance to sit down with Kevin Warren at Halas Hall with a big assist from these guys who were there too, especially Nick, setting everything up, the real MVP here.
No, Carm sent a really good photo, though.
Carm,
that's because photos. Nick told me, go get your phone and take a photo.
It was all teamwork, though. We consulted on questions and everything like that. And anyway, here it is, a sit down with Kevin Warren today, and then we'll come back and discuss some of what he had to say.
All right, Kevin, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
On this opportunity with the Bears. I want to start with the stadium. One of the cool things the Vikings did when you were there was give us media members tours of the stadium when we would come as visiting media. Lester Bagley gave us a tour the year before it was finished.
That's right.
And then when it was finished. I really appreciated that. It was cool to see all the, because I think we got to see the details that you've talked about that you put so much work into. So when you look back on it, I guess, what were those details that you're most proud of that stadium that might be on your wish list for what you might do with the Bears?
I would probably say that we listen to all of our different constituents. We listen to our players. We listen to our fans. We listen to the media. We listen to the alumni. And we were able to bring that all together. And I even think the alumni cabin that we developed, they loved it. They still love it. And our players, what was important to them. And so to tie all that in and to tell that story. And it's just much more than a building. It's not just a building. It's not just a stadium. So I think that's the thing I'm probably, most proud of.
You've been living here in Chicago now for the last few years. Do you feel like you have a good sense right now?
100%, because this journey with Bears fans and the city of Chicago started 30 years ago with Chris Zorich. So, and I have a nephew who's a lawyer in town, so we spend a lot of time here. Then playing here, you come in and understand it, but living here and living downtown and getting a sense for really what it stands for.
Getting a chance to talk to Ryan Poles a few minutes ago, he seemed genuinely grateful that the team brought him into the discussions towards the end, and also genuinely excited about how you guys already fit together. Do you feel that way?
Same. Oh yeah, 100%. He's so talented. He's a talented executive, understands football, leader, wants to win, no ego. He and I are cut from the same cloth. So I'm looking forward to working with him.
How do you envision that ideal relationship working between you and the general manager?
Almost like it works with a spouse. That, if someone asks in our household, well, who has the final say between you and your wife? You know what? We sit down and hash stuff out, and when we sit down with the kids or make a decision, it's our decision, and I think that's really important. And this is a marriage. I mean, becomes a marriage. You have to work these things out and figure it out and understand. You spend time with each other and do it the right way. But it starts with someone who has a good heart and who really is starting the day off saying, my goal is to win championships. And once that happens, then you work through these issues.
He actually said that, because of your background in the Big Ten, you might even have some insight on some of these players, and also the mental health side of things too, what you guys had accomplished on
100%. I've watched more football than most humans, over these last couple of years. You think about it. I mean, I watch every Big Ten football game, but not only watch the games, but I know the backgrounds, from the athletic departments and with the different players. So 100%.
One of the things I like what you said in your press conference was that you're going to sit down with every employee here and ask them if they're a member of the McCaskey family, what would they do? I kind of want to turn that question on you right now, because you kind of get to be a part of the McCaskey family now in your role. So how would you answer that?
I think the answer I would ask is that, it's okay to raise the expectations, and put the pressure on us. That here's what we need. That's what I would do if I was a member of the family. All the things are in place here. I mean, they really are. Got a fantastic practice facility. We have resources, and but I think that, as I said earlier, people need to get comfortable. One, being uncomfortable, and then talking about championships. Because when you talk about championships, then you have to be about it, and you have to put in the work. So instead of wanting a trophy, then you got to really want the training that comes along with the trophy. So that's the thing I would say.
You helped put the practice facility together in Minnesota. That's in place here. Do you feel like that gives you a head start already?
100%. This is a fabulous building. This is a great building. I mean, a few little, tweaks here, every once in a while. But this building, to have this is a phenomenal practice facility.
You also talked about how when you build a house, you start in the basement.
Yep.
In a lot of ways, that's what's happened here the past year on the football side.
That's why I'm here.
With Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. How do you feel about, what's that basement looking like so that you can start building the first and second floors?
It's good, because the thing that I judge is going to that Eagles game late in the year is that just the energy of the players. And they played hard. They ran to the ball. I mean, just the energy. And you can tell that. So when you see a team that only has 3 wins that plays to the last snap, that's always exciting as you go forward. And then you start infiltrating the organization with more talented individuals, whether it's in the draft or free agency, and start talking about it. And I mean, you think about it. They learned a new offensive scheme, defensive scheme, and it was the first year that Ryan and Mac worked together. So we're going to be in good shape.
I know when you were with the Vikings, they never had the #1 pick, but did they ever have this type of cap flexibility that the Bears have now?
Never, but when I was at the Rams, we had the #1 pick my first year there. We took Orlando Pace, and so we did have that.
Awesome. And then with the quarterback, Justin Fields, you talked a little bit about your relationship with him. It stood out to me that you had the opportunity to call him on draft night too. Just what stands out to you most about him as a quarterback?
His competitiveness, his toughness, his intelligence, his desire to win, his leadership. He's a champion. So he's someone you can feel like leaders. He's a leader. He's not fooling around. I mean, he's here to win. You know, there's a lot of people in the NFL like the accoutrements that come along with being in the NFL. Then there are a lot of people who like football. He likes football.
Well, and you mentioned how you saw all those football games at the Big Ten level. So
saw every one of his games.
So you know how he could throw the ball.
I saw every one of his games. Like I said, there are not many individuals who have watched as much football because I kept up watching NFL football too. Yeah. But you think about all the games that I've watched over the last couple of years.
Kevin, appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you never had the number 1 pick in Minnesota. Oh, we had it in St. Louis. We drafted Orlando Pace.
Used to do a betting podcast with Orlando Pace. Love Orlando Pace. Great pick, Kevin Warren. That was a great interview. Phenomenal job by you, Nick.
I just love how he had like an answer for everything, including that. Like, oh, yeah, we just drafted Orlando Pace. No big deal. Hall of Famer.
I just took extensive, copious notes on that interview. Can I just run through them real quick?
Carm's notes? It's a version of
Carm's notes? We're going in.
Notes on the interview. The whole Ryan, the Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus moment, Ryan and Matt. I don't know if people who were watching the press conference earlier today could see it, but which they obviously couldn't. But maybe there was pictures. I'm not sure. The bottom line is those two guys, the GM and the coach, were literally like foaming. They're just staring at him up there, like oh my, like they were in love with Kevin Warren. What was being said? These guys. Did you notice that?
I didn't know.
I did look over a few times and notice that they were.
Dude,
they were nodding their head many times. Yep.
The Flus in particular was like he looked just completely fixated / I don't even know.
Mesmerized.
He was mesmerized. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. It stuck out. Watches football.
Yeah.
Like this is a football guy now.
So that's actually what I wanted to get to next. Appreciate all the comments on the interview, and yes, Nick did a tremendous job of shooting that. So I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. That came up a number of times in small ways, I thought, today, that when it all added up to the end, I'm thinking it was very noteworthy to me that Kevin Warren at no point felt uncomfortable talking football. Mm-hmm. He wants to talk football.
Run to the ball, run to the ball, run to the ball.
Didn't necessarily shy away from the fact that, like, you know, he's going to work closely with Ryan Poles. And Poles, to his credit, because I really wanted to hear, or maybe more than anybody today, what he had to say about some of this stuff. I thought he was genuinely, as I alluded to in the question to Kevin later, he was genuinely appreciative that the Bears brought him in late in the process. It was once they got down to their final few candidates, Poles was in on that and got to meet them and talk to them. And this definitely was not lip service. That he feels this connection with Kevin Warren and really feels like they're going to work well together. And that's very, very interesting to me because it's also notable that George McCaskey still said Ryan Poles is going to have complete authority over football decisions. Mm-hmm. But for all these fans, media, us included, myself included, that have talked about the idea of a football czar, a football guy at the top, this is pretty damn close. Now, did Kevin Warren play NFL football? Did he play even college football? No, he's more of a basketball player, but he's worked in the league for so long, and some of it on the football side. Contracts, decision-making. You talk about him winning the Super Bowl with the Rams a long time ago, close to Dick Vermeil, all this stuff. Like, this is somebody that, to me, has the business acumen and enough of the football acumen where he is more qualified than Ted Phillips ever was to have genuine conversations and close working relationship with the general manager, to have an oversight over football decisions that are still going to, at the end of the day, be made by Ryan Poles when it comes to pulling the trigger on players.
A football business guy. That is exactly what Kevin Warren is. And I think that's, again, something that, like you just mentioned, Adam, Ted Phillips wasn't. Right, he's more all on the business side, but You see, and like he lights up when he talks football too. Like he wants to keep talking about it. Like when he was in your interview that you did with him. So again, it's just refreshing to have that kind of guy who brings that presence into the role, this very important role that the Bears have him in. So again, it is different, and I think different is a good thing for this organization.
Couple things. One, can't wait to get to the Duke Super Chat in a minute. You're the amazing Duke. We love you. Two, Braggs, you're spot on with his get comfortable being uncomfortable is a big deal, because I think you can look at this organization as pretty damn comfortable. This is a family business. No one's getting fired unless we really, 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 really have to do it, and so this is a different level. And the football part of it, him saying that, it's kind of like a marriage, that's interesting. Like, are you saying that you guys are going to have a discussion on who you're taking with the number one pick, or if you're having a trade and you and Ryan Poles are having or are you just letting him do his job? Because it sounds like there's going to be some discussion, like he's going to want to be in that room a little bit.
I would, and this is obviously just guessing, but I would picture Kevin Warren sitting in the draft room, which is, by the way, not that. I mean, owners are often in the draft room. Presidents are in draft rooms. You see those behind-the-scenes videos that teams put out. That's not uncommon. I think it's the level of influence and kind of knowing when to actually get in the weeds and some of the stuff and not. And that'll be something we try as closely as we can to monitor here, I think, as it starts unfolding.
Hey, George McCaskey, what'd you think of Justin Fields this year? I'm not a football guy, he was lovely. Hey, Kevin Warren, what'd you think of Justin Fields? I love his competitiveness. I love the fact that he loves football. I mean, we're dealing with a completely different level of engagement.
All right, big super chat here from the Duke.
Duke.
$199.99. I know nothing of football business, but I know business. Warren seems like a guy who won't take, quote, because that's the way we've always done it, as a legit excuse to hamper progress. That kind of person is who you want in high management. Time will tell, but I'm encouraged by what I've seen and read.
Ding, ding, ding.
Completely agree with that.
And I actually want to take an opportunity to give George McCaskey and Ted Phillips some credit here too. I don't know exactly when it happened. My guess is, always stands out to me is the 100-year celebration that they had at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center. It was a great weekend, phenomenal event, very fun. But in many ways, as much as it felt like a celebration of the team's 100-year history, it also at times almost felt like a Super Bowl celebration before the season even began. And I've said that before, and that's just the way it felt to me in many ways. And you had a lot of high-ranking members of the organization that are no longer there that were talking expectations up themselves and getting caught in the nostalgia in the moment and the excitement. And that was before that big 2019 season that was supposed to be much better than it obviously turned out. And I just feel like the couple years that followed that were probably somewhat of a wake-up call to those inside Halas Hall.
Sure.
To realize that, all right, just the way we're doing it, it's not working. I don't know whether that's a self-realization to Ted that maybe it's time to move on and retire, or George, having some influence on that. But as much as they've been at fault for some of these things, it's clear, and there's been other examples too, whether it's the new practice facility, right? Just going down the road of Arlington Heights. All I'm saying is let's give them credit for some of these things that have happened before the Kevin Warren hire even happened. And then being as bold to go out and get the Big Ten commissioner. So, whatever triggered all this, credit to them for acknowledging it, accepting it, and getting the Bears down this road where they now have the guy in place, in my opinion, to the Duke Super Chat here, that they're done hampering progress with the way that business has been done with the 103-year-old Chicago Bears. It's a new era, and Kevin Warren's in charge.
100%. You went out and hired him, George/Ted. Congratulations. And by the way, like when George is up there saying, I'm not a football guy, I have no real problem with that at all. Like that's what you pay Ryan Poles to do. You don't need to be weighing in on that. But I'm just also pointing out that it's a difference with Kevin Warren. So yeah, good on the Bears for making enormous progress, getting out of their own way, so to speak, and hiring a guy who can be an absolute game changer. I mean, it's a huge deal.
And I think it's all towards this organization going to try to strive for sustained success at the top. Ryan Poles has talked about that. Kevin Warren has talked about that in the introductory press conference. But a lot of these moves, you hope for, as a Bears fan, that's what it leads to. For the Bears to not only be bottom feeders in the NFL, but now you do have the practice facility. You hopefully will get the new up-to-date stadium. You'll have the football team, and it equates to sustained success at the top. And you had to kind of break it all down, and as Braggs would say, build it up brick by brick to kind of put yourself in a position to do that. I think when you make these, I wouldn't even call them radical moves, but moves that were necessary, that's going to put you in a position to actually be where George McCaskey wants this Bears franchise to be at the top. Not just the football team, but as the brand, as the facilities, the stadium, and he's making the right move. They're making the right moves to put themselves in that position.
The championship's part of it, too. That's changing the narrative. Like, championships. He said it multiple times.
Yeah, we've heard that before, though. Phil Emery talked about winning multiple championships.
It just felt different.
We're going to win multiple championships?
Yeah, but I don't know. I can't think of Phil Emery right now.
Kevin Warren.
You're all in, baby.
I am.
You're feeling it.
It's kind of a name that, this doesn't get mentioned much anymore, and because things ended as bad as they could possibly end when he was with the Blackhawks. But I remember John McDonough getting up there with the Cubs saying, like, we are here to win the World Series. And I'm like, Cub fans looking around like, what? Did you just say that? like no one has said that. And then he went over to the Hawks and won, was part of three cups. Yeah. So you could say it and say it all you want. You got to go out and get the right guys. But, we might play a snippet today with Ted Phillips where, when he was speaking. But, like, why do you think you haven't been successful here in your tenure as far as getting to a Super Bowl? He's like, well, we've had 45 quarterbacks. Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's because you didn't hire the right people to evaluate the quarterback. You wouldn't have had 45 if you had the right guy in there. Would have picked Patrick Mahomes over Mitchell Trubisky. You just didn't figure that out. You can't just put it on the QB. You got to put it on. You didn't put the right people in position to get the right players. Period. End of story.
Plenty more to get to here. This feels like a post-game show. Lots to talk about. Maybe the Bears' best win of the season.
Yes. By a mile.
In the meantime, though, the NFL playoff action continues without the Bears, and we're one step closer to Super Bowl 57 for the NFL divisional round. Check out DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet just $5, get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new and existing customers can take a shot at an even bigger payout with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Boost your NFL winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code CHGO. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL divisional round and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
After you check out DraftKings, you got to check out your Athletic Greens. With one scoop of your AG1s, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day off right. This mixture of ingredients helps your immune system. It gives you energy and improves your focus, and that's why I take my Athletic Greens, and you should too. What's awesome about Athletic Greens is that it costs less than a cup of coffee a day. Also helps support better sleep quality and recovery, which we all definitely need. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just one scoop in a cup of water every day. Super simple. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens going to give you free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Bears. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/CHGO Bears to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutrition insurance.
We also have our DraftKings pick of the week, which I believe Nick has for you this week, which is always a scary thing.
We're letting Nick do this? Okay, let's see.
Nick did go undefeated on his picks this weekend.
No, I picked the Bucks.
Oh, you had the Bucks.
I had the Bucks. Everything else is right, but you don't have to take this. You can entertain it at least. Cowboys 49ers both have pretty good offenses. You could take them over 46 points for -110 right now. I think that's like a lock with how these two teams, those two offenses are playing. So hit the over on over 46.
Okay. I feel.
Don't come back and,
I mean, the over did the over hit every game, or actually last night I think it didn't? I think
score enough.
Well, no, because of the.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people were just short of the 45 and a
half because of the 1, 2, 3, 4 missed extra points.
That sucks.
That's a bad beat.
That's a bad
beat.
You had a good tweet, though, Adam, about the Cody Parkey.
Yeah, it's still more impressive to hit the upright 4 times.
Which
it's hard. It's harder to hit the upright 4 times than to make 4 field goals.
Yeah, no doubt.
Correct me on the rules here, because for those of us Brags who have picked the Cowboys to come out of the NFC, can't you add a kicker before they got to take on the 49ers?
Yeah.
Well, why did you just go get a kicker? You can't trust this dude.
Well, maybe they should.
But that's not what they're doing.
How do you know?
Because that's what
Jara said last night. He made a lot of kicks already.
Go.
Look, never has a kicker ever missed 4 kicks in a game, 4 uprights in a game, and then, had problems beyond that. I don't know what I just said, but my point is.
Go get a kicker, Dallas.
The Bears should have done the same thing in 2018. They didn't. So maybe the Cowboys should learn from that.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So that hasn't been talked about enough. That Cody Parkey should never have been out there in the first place.
That's why you need somebody like Kevin Warren at the top of your franchise.
Full circle.
Wait a minute here. Maybe that kicker who missed the 4 kicks in the game and then struggled also against the Dolphins like a couple weeks ago. Maybe since you know how we're like on track to win the division and go to the playoffs, we shouldn't trust this guy at the playoffs. Just a thought.
They needed somebody to have that thought in Halas Hall. They just didn't.
Just so you guys are aware, I do have a poll running on YouTube at the moment. Just asking about if Kevin Warren won the presser or not. I believe my choices. Let's see here.
Yes, really yes, extremely yes.
How would you grade Kevin Warren's introductory press conference? Ready to run through a brick wall.
There you go.
Shout out Braggs. I see potential with him, or actions speak louder than words. Currently ready to run through a brick wall has over 50% of the votes. Keep on voting. But Orozco here, he threw us a super chat saying, he sounds great and smart. I love what I'm hearing, but actions speak louder than words. Look what happened to Claypool. I hope it turns around.
Sure.
No doubt.
No one's arguing that
You're
one.
not going to get every decision right.
It's going to take time to see these actions actually, play out. This is the introductory press conference. He won that, and now we'll see the next steps afterwards.
Yeah, and let's just be realistic here, or grounded. It wasn't a bunch of fluff. It wasn't like I didn't feel like I was being sold. I don't think anybody else did. So yeah.
Here's what's exciting about this. It's not even so much what was said today. Oh, there's a few things, and I'm going to get to one in a second. But to me, it's the resume. It's what he's actually already done, which gets me to this point with the stadium. Okay, when you hear him talk about the details and how they planned for a year, and it wasn't, this is approximately this many feet. No, is it 40 or 41 feet? That's what he said. I need to know the exact number. We have to have this planned out exactly before they even broke ground. There's a reason why U.S. Bank Stadium is as perfect as it is. And it really is, to me, as close to perfect of a stadium as you can possibly have. That's what has me excited. Like, it's not really anything that was said today, but then when you hear him talk about that, and back up what I've seen with my own eyes. There's a reason why I started that interview with him, talking about what they did with opposing media. Wasn't just, hey, here's our reporters in Minnesota, come check out our stadium. It was, the Bears are in town. We're going to take the Bears reporters and give them a tour on Sunday morning before the game. They did this the year before the stadium opened, and then they did it the year the stadium was open. So even with the years to go, we were in a conference room across the street with Lester Bagley, an employee of the Vikings, who was also a huge part of the stadium, and went through the numbers, how they cut the costs, how they managed to do this under budget, as George McCaskey pointed out today.
Everybody laughed at that. I was kind of like, okay, stop focusing on saving dough, but keep going.
As the one who asked that question, wasn't in love with the answer. But the point being, like, when we got to go on those tours, you could see the level of detail that was in there. Like, and then especially when it was done and they took us to every level and every club, and you're like, how many clubs have we been in now? How is it possible that you fit all this into what is actually a relatively small footprint? Certainly compared to what the Bears have the opportunity to do at Arlington Park with all that space that they have. Like, he delivered all that. Like, that's for real. It's already on his resume.
Where you got me on with that thought is, look, when Hoge walked in to WGN Radio in 2008, it was obvious that this dude had done his homework preparation to enter himself into the media world, that he would be a success someday and would be sitting in that chair. When Nicholas Moreano, when I talked to you for the first time at Fansided, I was like, this dude's on the come. When I was in 7th grade, 8th grade, I knew that Craig Bondi would be out there right now making millions of dollars doing whatever he's doing. And when you hear Kevin Warren talk about what he's going to do and how he's going to get better every single day and how he's not going to waste any moment on game days, it's obvious. Like, oh yeah, I'll take that guy to be a part of my organization. Like, and then when you see the other dude who's drunk and in the corner, I don't think it's going to work out for you. And Warren just it doesn't take anybody to any genius level to figure out that this dude it knows what he's doing, and there's a reason that he's had this much success, and it's a safe bet. The Bears are making a very safe bet, is a long-winded way of whatever the hell I just said.
Who's Kevin Bondi? What was that?
Craig Bondi.
Craig?
Yes,
he's got money.
You're saying Kevin Warren is the next Craig Bondi?
Yes. Well,
Bondi
might be Warren, or Warren might be Bondi. For my high school class, if anybody's watching this, they're gonna love this moment in time. But yeah, it's he reeks of success, man. That's what's going on.
Real quickly, you guys.
And the Bears didn't get in their own way again.
To go back to the details that Adam was just mentioning, that's how Kevin Warren is, I guess, just oriented. In the interview you did with him, he said it's much more than a building, the U.S. Bank Stadium, right?
It is.
And the thing is, too, what I was like most afraid of, I think Bears fans are, is like, if they build this new stadium, you just don't want it to be good, right? You just don't want it to be a good new stadium. You want it to be at the top. And with how Kevin Warren just is, how he runs, he is detail-oriented. That's why he mentioned, is it 35 or 30 feet? He's going to get every single detail right. And that's what gives me hope that, when this project does get done, it's not just going to be like the same old stadium or just a stadium that just meets your expectations. It should blow you away. That's what he's intending to do.
I could honestly do like 5 podcasts on that one stadium. Like,
you love that stadium.
But here's why I love it, because you name one problem that they might have there in Minnesota, and there's an answer. So, it's really cold. Okay, well, that skywalk we have in downtown Minneapolis? Let's connect it into the stadium so that you can actually park a few blocks away, leave your coat in the car, and walk in without having to go outside. Okay, but what about the fact that it's still pretty damn nice out in September here? It's one of the most beautiful places you can live before it gets horribly cold. Okay, well, let's have the giant-ass doors rotate so we let natural air in. And, what about the fact that most domes are all kind of cookie cutter and they're really dark and cavernous? Like our last stadium, the Metrodome, everybody complained about over and over again. Oh, let's build half the roof where it's just glass. And you could say, well, what about the snow falling off we got answers for that. There's like channels where the snow can fall. What about birds that hit the windows, which is actually still probably a problem there if you read the studies on that. But they had to deal with that, and they deal with the environmentalists, and they had to go. Like, literally everything, like down to a T, was all thought of. The way the press box is constructed on multiple levels with the booths above it. The food is phenomenal, and not just for us cranky reporters, but throughout the entire place. The noise level towards the top is insane. It's a real home field advantage. The Galler horn, the skull chant. I mean, I can go on and on and on. It really, truly. So if the Bears can replicate that, Carm, I promise you, 10 years from now, you're not going to give a shit about where the stadium's actually located.
Oh,
I don't know.
That's
I don't
not
know,
true.
Mark.
I'm telling you.
I'll be over it, but I hold things. I still wish Chicago Stadium
He's
was
still talking about Craig Bondi, whoever the hell that is.
Yeah,
This dude is going to own a condo in the development.
I might.
That's true.
That if it's a good buy, I'm in.
He's going to be.
I already moved that way in Arlington Heights.
I mean, I'm down for any good investments out there. Let's not be what is it, pound foolish something right.
Sure.
But hey, you sold as far as the argument that you're making, like the dome part of it, loudness, that does excite me. Mm-hmm. But when you're talking about every detail and connecting downtown and this, that, I start thinking about the rendering that we just saw with train stations and everything connected into this amazing new Soldier Field.
You mean the train stations that don't exist?
No. Come on, the Metro goes right up to Soldier Field right now. Comes from the south.
Yeah, but not
friends in
not the L.
We can figure that out. We're gonna figure it out, Lawrence. But right now, I get it. We're just focused on Arlington Heights, and I think the Bears, because of their hire, they'll probably stay focused on Arlington Heights because I don't think he's gonna mess this up.
But actually, that's where I don't fully agree. I mean, right now they are contractually obligated to say Arlington Heights no matter what. They're going to close on the land. But even Ted said today,
we could play that.
Not a guarantee we're going to actually build on it, okay? And this is where if Kevin Warren comes in and decides that, you know what, as he said in the interview, they actually listened to the media on some of the ideas. Good for him. Good for them in the Minnesota land. But the one guy in the media who I really think makes a lot of sense is this Mark Carman guy. And you know what? He's right. This stadium should be on the lakefront. And I'm going to come up with a solution where that can actually happen. Where that
Pepe.
Ridiculous video with all the perfect renderings and non-things. There's no way in hell that ever happens in Chicago. I'm going to be the guy. If there's the point I'm trying to make is if there's one individual that can maybe make all that unrealistic nonsense actually work, it's probably Kevin Warren.
Yeah.
And if it happens, I'm going to give you the credit.
Oh, I just had a moment in time. Kevin, listen. They're down the road on this Arlington Heights thing, but deep down that the Bears belong in the city. Even if George McCaskey is going to sit there and shut down my question, and Pepe Silva is going to celebrate it in the chat that I got quote-unquote shut down. I wouldn't call it a shutdown. I would say it was a dodge left. Yeah. Should we play Ted Phillips with his because I asked him about some people don't want change, Ted. What do you think? And here was Ted after Kevin Warren spoke today about the Bears Stadium. It seems like a ton of Bears fans are excited about it, but there's some that don't want change, love being in the city. And I'm sure there's part of you that loves the Bears being in the city. What's your?
It's a great site.
Yes.
I mean, the location is picturesque, and we love the city of Chicago. We're always gonna, even if we end up developing that site, we're still gonna have a presence in the city, and we're gonna be invested in the community, and we're gonna still be the Chicago Bears. But we're so far from that right now; it's still hard to tell where it's gonna go.
Again, if Far from that. Hard to tell. You all saying I'm going to die on this hill. Well, it doesn't seem like it's completely dead yet.
But that's why. And I don't think it is. I think the timing of all this is actually, again, I'm giving the Bears a lot of credit today, but they deserve it. I think and Ted deserves it too. Ted to be another thing, small thing we learned today. Because when was it when the team announced that Ted Phillips was actually retiring? Was it summer?
That seems right.
I'm losing track of it because it's been like rumored, and you've been hearing stuff about this for years now. But the point is, between what George said, well, I asked George today, and George answered that question and said, yeah, Ted had already notified us last year when we went into the search process that he was going to be retiring, and so that's why the structure changed at that time. And he said, all right, Ted, you worry about the stadium for the next year.
September 2nd.
September 2nd was the official date.
Yeah.
But as George said, they knew when they were hiring Poles and Eberflus this time last year, they already knew from Ted that was happening. They've known this for a while. So get moving on the Arlington Heights land. As they've explained many times, and they're not wrong, it is complicated to close on a site that is that big and that complicated. And in the meantime, they got to get the president and CEO to come in that knows about these stadiums. Kevin Warren called himself a stadium nerd today.
He did.
That's what we need. Let's go. Stadium nerd.
Stadium nerds.
40 feet, 41 feet.
Nerds.
I mean,
nerds.
Gotta get exact.
I mean, speaking of details and don't take this the wrong way, nerds, because you're too cool to be a nerd, Nick. But like the double cameras and how did you know how to do that?
Well, we kind of rehearsed here.
Rehearsed.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we
You rehearsed. You didn't leave anything to chance. You went down the road. You explored the options. You fiddled with the microphone. You knew exactly what you were doing, even though you weren't an
They
expert.
gave him like 30 seconds to
I followed what
just set
everyone
up.
else
It was
was
a
kind of
bam,
doing.
boom, bam, boom.
Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. That's not what you did. Warren Moreano.
Same cloth. Cut out the same cloth.
Crystal Super Chat $9.99. I'm overly excited about this. Happy to be moving home when all these changes are being made. But if he keeps the stadium in Chicago, I would love this even more. Hashtag welcome Kevin Warren. We really haven't had a chance to go in depth on this. Maybe this is the moment because you left us last week. Season's over. Got to go to tennis camp. I'll be back when Kevin Warren's hired.
That's right.
Okay.
That's what I did. I needed it.
He's back.
I just want it on the record that if there is some world in which that crazy stadium video is in any way realistic, if that's what they could actually build,
Yeah.
which I'm about 0.000000001% confident that they could actually get done, I 100% would prefer that over Arlington Heights.
Thank you. There you go, Lawrence.
But I don't think anybody disagreeing with that? Just nobody believes that they can actually do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at.
I've watched that thing and said, okay, great. That's absolutely. Let's do this. You can
And
do
they
this.
have to let the Bears own it then.
Right. Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
I don't think that's going to happen either.
Send another text to the mayor's office right now. I keep on trying. Let me just.
And if they build that, you guys, like, the Bears are at the place somewhere else, right? Like, when it's all under
They
construction,
would. And that's the
too.
one thing they don't have to worry about if they build in Arlington Heights.
Wait,
Yeah,
minor
I mean,
details.
When is Northwestern moving into their new stadium?
They
They
got
hold,
one
like-
more year, and then they got 2 years to build it, so it'll work out. The timing will be perfect.
It holds, like, what,
These-
30,000?
30,000. It'll be, but it'll be a
So
So
hot.
you're saying the Bears
That'll be
can
tight.
play at Northwestern Stadium.
Yeah, for
That has
a
half
year.
the
It's going
amount
to
of
have
seating.
30,000 people?
But it's going to be amazing.
The Chargers played at that soccer stadium.
It'll be an
that one year.
it'll be an
Either.
incredibly hot ticket. Incredibly hot ticket.
Game time.
Game day.
Game-
You're going to need
you
the game
will-
time.
you
I
will
guess
need-
that's better than what does Champaign hold? 50?
Oh come on, that's not
55.
even close. You want to go to Evanston? Or you want to go to Champaign?
Oh, I want to go to Evanston.
for sure.
Yeah.
I just want to go to Buffalo Joe's. The Dukes, he's throwing another 999. He says, Carm, quote, Kevin, Boobala, I live really close to Soldier Field. You're really messing with my commute. Let's just keep the Bears on the lakefront, okay?
That's correct. That's correct.
Shout out to the Duke.
I just
You guys are all just being selfish.
No.
And everybody accuses me of being selfish because I live in Vernon Hills. That's why you want to go to Arlington. I don't have to go to the games anymore. I have to come down here. It doesn't make a damn difference to me. I'm down here.
Here's the best idea I think I've seen. This is from Arab Ace. Thanks for the $1.99 super chat. He said, move the lake to Arlington Heights.
Oh.
Hashtag Warren Magic.
I mean, it's about 100 years away anyway, so.
Listen, my guy Ted Phillips talks about just how beautiful it is on the lake.
That was a climate change joke.
Yeah, I feel like the lake would just disappear, not move to Arlington Heights, but that's...
Is it going to snow this winter, by the way, bear weather?
Bear weather, here we go.
Just 40 degrees and raining.
Stop trying to jinx it.
I want snow.
I believe tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, tomorrow snow?
I thought I saw Jim
All right.
Z tweeting something.
All right, let's...
back on track, please.
I do want to talk about...
Oh, yeah.
George wasn't feeling the CHGO love today. All right? Both Carman and I got shut down pretty hard. So it started... I asked him...
and you had a great start, too. I mean, he's like, hi, Adam. How are you? Great to see you.
Well, there was a small awkwardness with me having to fill Hub shoes.
Mm-hmm.
That was awkward, but you did a great job.
I didn't.
Did.
Who wants to take the first question to sub it for Hub? You did it.
Boom.
Well, the only thing I hate... I would prefer... I don't like awkward silence. And I had a question ready, and I was like, all right, let's keep this thing moving. And then I realized, oh, no. I have to fill Hub shoes. I don't want to have to fill Hub shoes.
Well,
Nobody could fill Hub shoes.
That's what you said. Nobody could fill Hub shoes.
Anyway, the question was, you've been to US Bank Stadium a lot. What do you like about it? And what would be on your wish list for the Bears Stadium?
I thought we'd get a good answer out of that, too. When you asked them, like, oh, okay, here we go.
You know, is it the roof? Is it the...
What did he say? I forgot what he said.
He said, well, Kevin told me it was built on time and under budget.
Oh, yeah, right.
So that's one. And that was it.
Got a little chuckle, too.
I got a chuckle, but
not the answer.
I don't think that was the answer fans wanted based on what I was seeing on social media, though.
He has a hard time, George does, for whatever reason, just giving a straight, honest answer. Mm-hmm. What is it that you like about it? I'm assuming he's been there, and so he could pick something out.
He's been there many times.
Right. So there's that. And if he did, and if nothing stood out, then
make something out.
And by the way, Ted specifically talked about how he likes how the light comes in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Which was
but maybe
music to my ears.
Yeah.
Because I one of my big complaints about these domes is like
darkness.
When you watch on TV, they all look the same.
Mm-hmm.
But Minnesota's looks different. You can tell when the game, night games is not much different, but when the day games, you see the sun coming in on the field. It looks like it's outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the feel of it. I like the way the concessions stand. Just something on it was that's a disappointment. But and then for me, what are you saying to Bears fans who want the Bears to be in Chicago? We'll be here for another 103 years. And then the press conference ends. I'm like, no. That's not how I wanted this to end. And two, like,
well, you started it, or I started it awkwardly. You ended it.
And
like, you know,
come on, man. I don't think it's that hard to say. Like, hey, I have mixed emotions about it too. I love being in the city. And if we end up going out there, I'll have to mourn the fact that we're not on the lakefront anymore, and it'll be a whole new start. But we're going to do what's best for the franchise. You could have said that,
or even what Ted said when you asked him that too. So didn't get either one of those.
But it's like he just wants to sort of not act like there's going to be any difference whatsoever. We're just going to show up one day and we'll be in Arlington Heights, and that's a part of Chicago. It's Chicago land. Hey,
look, I think it's a calculated gamble that, certainly from a financial standpoint, doesn't have much of a downside. Like, even you have to admit, they moved to Arlington Heights.
Well,
everything's going to be just fine.
Yeah, but it would, depending on how this all, I think to what Ted's talking about, depending on how it all plays out, how much money are they going to have to put into this thing? And
again, though, that's where Kevin Warren's experience.
Yeah, that's why he's here.
What was put in? How did you get it at this number? I mean, if you look at the price of US Bank Stadium, and granted, all these prices go up just with regular inflation, obviously, but
$1 billion.
1.2 billion.
1.2 billion.
I forget Raiders, I want to say, is 2-something billion. By the way, Raiders Stadium's fine.
It's fine.
I don't know that it's going to age that well, though. It kind of, to me, is more cookie cutter than, other than the outside, it looks like a Death Star. I do like how the big window opens, the torch thing, fine, but it's just fine to me. SoFi, $5 billion, and has the comp of it being Hollywood Park development, very similar to what the Bears are talking about. I think it's more likely the stadium part is more like US Bank Stadium. The whole development might be like what they did there. But SoFi is not perfect, guys. It's cool. It wows you when you walk in there. But did you hear about the national championship game?
Yeah.
The sideways rain that was coming in, and they weren't smart enough to build it where if the certain concrete areas got wet, they were slippery, and people were literally getting taken off on stretchers out of there because they fell. Like, when I went through that rant earlier talking about how they literally got every detail right about US Bank Stadium, that's the stuff they messed up at SoFi. It's a cool concept where the roof is a canopy, so it protects you from elements, but it's not fully enclosed, right? So there's no AC. Well, multiple teams have come in and out of there because it can get hot in California. Most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's like perfect. But when it sneaks up into the 90s, there's like a greenhouse effect in that building.
Oh, jeez.
Like Paul Allen, the Vikings were there, and Paul Allen was like, it was a sauna. Like
$5 billion sauna.
Yeah, like that's the type of stuff. If you're going to spend that type of money on a stadium, you can't have oversights like that.
That's the Stan Kroenke factor. He sucks.
This is why I love Lawrence.
This is why I love Lawrence. Just
bam.
Yeah. Well, speaking of what the Bears are going to have to do with their stadium is be efficient, whatever it's going to be. And the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses like the Bears in communities that they serve save money and energy. ComEd offers free facility assessments that could help find energy-saving opportunities, lighting, HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes. Bears, I hope you're taking notes here. You're going to need ComEd wherever you go. Don't wait. Get started saving money and energy today. George McCaskey, that's a win-win. For energy-saving tips and to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz. By the way, this is not just for the Bears. This is for everyday people like yours truly and everybody else here. You want to save money. You want to save energy. You can call ComEd at 855-433-2700, 855-433-2700. Do that during normal business hours, or if you don't like being on the phone, just want to send an email, business, that's right, at ComEd.com. Business, at ComEd.com, the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program. Look at that, graphics and everything.
Yeah, but shout out to Matthew in the comments. He timed out his EE comment perfectly, where it popped up right as you were saying EE.
Matthew's always on his game, man. Gregory's A+, A+, A+.
And he came to the happy hour, last happy hour we did. So
Wednesday night.
Shout out to you.
Happy hour tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. We'll all be there. We'll have a lot to talk about with this stuff. But really, you can ask us anything. So
Yeah, maybe like
Tennis
about
camp questions.
or Shady Rays, you guys. You can talk about Shady Rays, which are premium polarized shades featuring world-class optical clarity, substantial durability, and styles catered to everyone and every lifestyle. The best part about Shady Rays, they have the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. If you lose or break your shades on day one, they told us that they'll send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. And even with that strong of a protection program, I can tell you, they're just as good as any expensive pair I've ever owned. Shady Rays customers seem to agree with over 200,000 five-star reviews. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is running their deepest deal of the season. Use code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. Buy one, get one free. You can get 2 pairs for as low as $54. Redeem only at shadyrays.com, where you can find all the newest and best shades.
all right. I don't necessarily have like a major thing we still have to get to, but I think
I got some super chats if you want to do those.
Super chats. I got some. I do want to make sure we get through notes here, just make sure we didn't miss anything. One thing, just because this is me and I can't ignore things like this, so I apologize in advance. But did you guys enjoy the awkward hug between George and Kevin as much as I did?
There was a lot of hugging going on out there.
There was.
But it was like went in for the one hug, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And then like went back in for the second one. Ever seen the double hug?
We've all been there though with like a weird handshake,
Oh,
weird
yeah,
hug
all the
there. We've
time.
all been there.
That's why I always like to call it out. Like, embrace the awkwardness. You got to.
Yeah.
What do you think George is doing right now? He's hugging.
Watching CHGO Bears.
Well, of course. Hi, George. We'd love to have you in studio, by the way. Open invitation anytime. It would be awesome to sit down with you.
Scoot right around. We got a nice wood floor.
George is like
Low key though, when George gets those settings like that, when he goes in studio for interviews, he's actually very entertaining.
I enjoy George.
And I love talking to him in our small group settings at the owners meetings every year. Legitimately.
There's nothing better on a Sunday to walk over to Soldier Field and run into George and then have Nick walk up and film me, and or to be at Halas during minicamp and he just walks up on Hoge and you're just all of a sudden having a conversation with George. He's just a regular dude. So we love you, George. But the point is, I don't know.
When we played Bear, not a Bear with him this year. That was like my highlight of all of 2022.
I'm just wondering, what he's got to be sitting there watching this whole thing, Bear, not a Bear. Is that what I'm going to do with the rest of my life right now? Like, he's got this dude in place? What does he have to do?
You better not have to do that. We better know these guys on the roster next year.
I hope so.
But he could really just hang out now. All right, I solved this issue. I can just be out of the way. This dude's going to handle it, and I can chill. Like, I don't need to talk to the media again. I really don't have to do much. Kevin, your dime, your dance floor. We miss you, Chet. Great Bears fan. Like, seriously, what does George have to do now?
Hand out ice cream sandwiches to the CHGO tailgate next time.
There you go.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt.
We should have him come to the CHGO tailgate. I feel like I stepped over. Did you have something to say? Someone had something to say? I feel okay. Let's get to some of these super chats though, and before we get out of here.
Okay, let's do some super chats.
Yeah. Thanks, Lawrence.
Favorites.
I don't want to leave.
First off, Tom Papalardo just threw us $2. No question. Thank you very much, Tom.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, Tom.
Ryan Jackson has an interesting question here. He says, what happens to Halas Hall when they move to Arlington Heights?
Nothing. They're not moving the practice facility. I mean, I guess they could, but I don't think they're going to.
Yeah.
He did mention tweaks, right?
Tweaks. Yeah, that was in my interview with him.
Yep.
There might be a couple tweaks here or there. Well, I will say the one, to me, this is speaking as if you're going to be really spoiled as a Bears player, the one flaw I see right now with it is how far the walk is from the building to the backfields.
Mm-hmm. The Walter Payton
Or
Center,
like
yeah.
this year, I totally understood why Phillips did what he did, where they would walk into the indoor facility to warm up, where it's warmer, you get your blood flowing, then you go back outside. Makes common sense. It's common sense to me scientifically. The problem is you had to walk from the practice field, the one heated practice field is what, 15 yards away from the door to the locker room? Mm-hmm. Like, that's how close it is. So to walk all the way over to the Walter Payton Center just to stretch and then come back. So I don't know how you fix that, but is there a way to connect it all? And I have not been to Viking Lakes. I don't know. I've heard great things about it, but I don't know how the Bears facility now, which is great, compares to like logistically what they built in Minnesota.
I can already see it. Warren's going to build a skyway from the building to the practice facility with a moving walkway.
Maybe a monorail?
Yes.
Or like gondolas that take you down like
Monorail.
Guys, we're not going to have
Turn
you
it into Disneyland.
We want to get you off your feet for that walk. There is no attention to detail that you will not have. We now are putting in the Warren Mobile something. I don't know. Maybe he'll name it after George Halas, who he says like he's going to want to walk in and walk out. That Papa Bear is going to be proud of him every single day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't realize he had that level of connection to Papa Bear, but that's. I'm sure Virginia loved hearing that one.
You know, maybe tweaks you guys. Like, not a lot of fans can go there for training camp. It's about 1,000 people, right? They get to go there, and since it's moved to Halas Hall, you find a way to expand that. I don't know, and see what you can do there for the fan experience because he's all about that too.
It's interesting. There's possibilities there. What else we got?
Well, so earlier when the Duke threw his gigantic, amazing super chat, thank you again, the Duke.
Amazing.
Braggs responded, I would like the Duke to adopt me. And the Duke said, I would like to adopt Braggs.
And threw it a super chat to do so.
Yeah. And then Adam's dad said, if the Duke adopted me, he could be Adam's grandfather.
It's getting a little uncomfortable for me.
I was gonna say I've had enough awkward moments today with filling shoes and hugs, and
I mean,
now the Duke is my grandfather.
I mean,
I would like it.
For the right price.
I mean, there seems to be a nice inheritance that might be in there for me, but someone, there was a Twitter poll going around. Did you guys see that yesterday? Yeah. Who has more money to spend this offseason, the Bears or the Duke?
I voted the Duke.
That's amazing.
voted
That was
the
pretty
Duke.
good. I love our viewers and all our listeners. You guys are the best. So CHGO diehards, appreciate it. We're all family. No one needs to be,
no,
the Duke is all of our grandfathers.
But I believe that Braggs' mom, who I've met, I believe her name is Barb. I hope I have that correct, Greg.
Yep, Barbara.
It is Barb. And,
Great
you know,
cookies.
for Braggs to openly try to get out of the family is uncomfortable for me because Barb is a great woman. And that's, you know, I can't support that. I'm Team Barb. Braggs got to stay where he is, where he's
Supposed to be.
You know, brick by brick, you stay at home.
Chris wants to start a Premier League podcast with me. I would just be yelling about all the teams other than Arsenal. So I don't know if that's a good podcast per se.
Did we say Kevin Fishbane was going to start the Wildcats podcast?
Yeah, we hired Kevin Fishbane today
He didn't seem very excited about it.
No.
Yeah, you know.
I
Disappointing.
hate to say it, but Kevin very rarely gets excited about talking about Northwestern. It's usually just complaining. He cares very deeply about it, but
Yeah, well, Kevin got the big, hey, Kevin Fishbane from The Athletic, and to Kevin Warren, and they got a great name there.
oh yeah,
That
great
was-
name,
that,
Kevin.
that was
big.
a big, and you know, there's other Kevins around here too. I believe head of content, his name is Kevin,
That guy?
and then there was
Powerful people in powerful positions.
yep, Kevin Powell, WGN. A lot of Kevins were really celebrating today. I was jealous that I wasn't a Kevin. I wanted to be Kevin Kadick. I wanted to be anything. I was like, why can't I?
Well, you just need the Duke to adopt you and change your name.
There you go.
And Adam, the Duke says you can call me Poppy.
Poppy.
Okay, this is just getting weird now, but thank you for the
Thanks, Duke.
$4.99
For the
super
super chat
chat.
again.
Poppy Duke.
Adam Morey says the Duke is secretly George McCaskey. Now that would be interesting.
I mean, he's got a lot of money.
Conspiracy theories. All right, I do want to get through some notes here. One is the start date for Kevin Warren seems a little bit fluid. He said it was probably April, but then when it came up, well, what's going to happen with Ted Phillips because he's supposed to retire at the end of February? Is March just going to be a free-for-all? Who's running the team? Then it was like, oh, Ted's going to stay on until Kevin starts, and that might actually end up being before April. So that seems to be fluid. I did like Kevin's answer. He's like, in my mind, I've already started.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if I'd like that if I was the Big Ten, but good for the Bears.
Why are we waiting till April? Anybody have an understanding
He
there?
can't just high and dry leave the Big Ten like
3 months?
days notice.
3 months?
The transition period when he took that job with Delaney was like 6 months.
I guess these high-level positions, I'm
a
not
big type
I'm
job.
not
Yeah, I
familiar.
mean, you got to onboard. They don't even have a new commissioner yet, right? So,
You have to go to every individual school, meet the chancellors, meet the presidents, meet the ADs, meet the coaches.
It's a lot to do.
By the way, now I'm just gonna step in there. Meet the coaches. That's where I cannot stand college football because these coaches think they're like more important than God. And I know they're the most like highest paid people in public in each state most of the time, but what are we doing, man? They're football coaches.
Hit the like button if you
Yeah.
for if you agree with Lawrence about the coaches and or if you think that Kevin Warren can start before April. It's January, whatever it is.
Okay.
Come on, man.
17th.
He started already in his mind, he said. And by the way, I mostly agree with you, Lawrence, and one of the reasons why I love Pat Fitzgerald, because he never gives you the impression that he is greater than God. Just a down-to-earth dude. He is.
He is 100%.
Now, granted, we don't know how much he makes because they're a private university, but that's a whole other story.
Okay. That's enough.
A lot of money. He makes a lot of money, and it's not
They all do.
that his salary's out there. Right. It's not.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain you can find it. I've Googled it. I think it's about $4 million.
Okay, so
Go
Carm
Cavs.
just put it out there.
Well, it's public knowledge. I
Yeah.
just Googled it.
Salary.
The big quote from Kevin Warren, quote, I came here to win championships, to win the NFC North, to win the NFC, to win the Super Bowl.
Good.
Love it.
That's good.
Papa Bear is smiling today. George McCaskey at the beginning. And George McCaskey also calling Ted Phillips as close to family as one can get.
That was adorable. I was very happy to hear that Ted's in the family. He very much is. They sit there.
He's the consigliere. He's the Robert Duvall.
That was my worst question of the day, by the way. I said to Ted, "What are you going to miss the most? What are you looking more forward to?" And then I just got a very, I'm going to miss the connections, and I'm looking forward to having my time back. So
there was a rumor going on in our little transcription pool that you actually trampled somebody to get that question in.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Who was the victim?
The guy from the Daily Herald who had the longest questions of all time.
Oh, they're like city reporter they sent out there?
Yeah, but he's like one more question. I started, then he tried to come over me, and I pushed back, if you don't mind. And I asked, which I just admitted was not my best question. But then he got his question in, and his question took 3 minutes. But good for you. Take up the space. Go for it.
Love it.
Respect.
Love it. Last couple things here.
Doing a show.
Before we get out of here.
I thought Potash was great today, too, by the way. Every time he asked a question, it's exactly what was in my head. Mark Potash was in my head.
Well, and Potsy's best thing he did today was he was counting down on Twitter the start of the press conference every minute. He posted a new photo of nothing. 15 minutes away, 14 minutes away, and it was another photo of the same podium. There was still nobody standing there.
I like people who amuse themselves during the day.
He amuses me. Potsy, nobody's better on Twitter than Mark Potash.
Nope. He's like undercover. Because I don't know. He feels like a straight man, but it's not really. But there's a lot going on there. Great man. Love you, Mark Potash.
What? Okay. Kevin Warren's objectives: culture, continue to build that culture, bring a heightened energy throughout the building, championships, sustained success. That was one of the moments where if you looked over at Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus, they were like, yes. So that was great. Over 20 people were interviewed for the job. Bears didn't want to announce anything in terms of who were actually the candidates. And then one significant football note that I actually could be its own separate show, and maybe we get into it deeper tomorrow. But, at, what was that, 1:30-ish, we were talking to Ryan Poles today, and I asked him, are you worried about losing to Ian Cunningham? Because he's supposedly a finalist in Tennessee. Ryan Poles kind of sounded like a guy who was prepared to lose Ian. Like, yeah, I knew when I hired him he wasn't going to be here long, but 12 months, that's a little surprising, but he's ready for it. I have a plan in place. Of course, Ian Cunningham, the Bears' assistant general manager. Just since we started the show, that was actually right at the top of the show. Reports out there, though, that the Titans are hiring Rand Carthon from the 49ers, who was also a candidate for the Bears job last year, by the way. So those are the only two GM jobs open, and doesn't appear that Ian Cunningham got either one. So that changed in the last few hours, and that's big because Ian Cunningham, as Ryan Poles said today, probably not going to be around much longer, but still big to have him here during this big offseason that they're about to be in. So that's significant news.
There's only 32 of those jobs, so until you get one, you don't have one. So he sounds like he's going to be back.
Yeah. So that's good. All right. Any
Win-win.
other final thoughts?
Good, you guys. Good.
I would just like to personally thank everybody in the chat for doing a great job today. It was fun. I'd like to thank Nicholas Moreano for picking me up at the Metro today. There are 2 Lake Forest Metro stops. It's very confusing. Moreano came correct and got me at the right one. I was able to.
Just the definition of a team player.
I mean,
today.
team.
Picking you up at the train.
So this is what CHGO is, though.
Yeah.
We all build off of each other, work together.
I did drive you down here, though.
And then I'd like to thank Adam Hoge for giving me a ride to the studio tonight.
We had some great phone conversations on the way down.
Fantastic. Like to thank David Kaplan for joining us on our car ride. that was fantastic. And I would also like to put on blast the dude that I'm playing tonight at 9 o'clock on the tennis court. You're going down. I know you're the number 1 seed. I know you haven't lost a match, but I am coming for you. Whatever the hell your name is that I don't remember right now. You are going down tonight. I'm coming back from tennis camp. I am extending through on the forehand, and you are going down.
Wow.
Can we please have that ready for tomorrow's show after he loses?
God.
I'm gonna
Cannot
get
wait.
killed. This guy's gonna work me. I hope I get a game.
Oh, man.
But I'm coming for you. You didn't hear that part.
Guess who's going to be sitting here tomorrow with us?
I don't know.
Brick Juice. Mr. Brick Juice.
Really?
What's that, really?
I'm so excited, Braggs.
Hey, if you're not already a diehard, go sign up. We got my newsletter coming out in the morning with more on all this stuff from today. Plenty more thoughts. By the way, open to everybody. We all gave our initial thoughts right away. It's up on allchgo.com. You can go read that. And
Talk about a love fest.
what?
Everybody, did you read what everybody wrote?
No.
People, it was a love fest.
I'm about to read it. allchgo.com. We also have Die Hard. So tomorrow, newsletter in the morning, plenty more written content coming your way. allchgo.com. Show tomorrow, back at noon. Greg Braggs will be here with us in studio to give us his thoughts on everything that happened today. And then our Die Hard happy hour. Again, only open to diehards. We'll send out the information tomorrow, but if you are Die Hard, sign up. We'll give you access to it. Virtual happy hour. Grab a drink. Come hang out with us. And we're going to keep those going throughout the offseason. Plenty more to talk about. So that's all coming your way tomorrow. Follow us on Twitter at CHGO_Bears. Ton of good content today. And we're working to kind of beef that up too. So make sure you're following us there. At Adam Hoge, at the Carm, at Nicholas Moreano. Good work by everybody, including Lawrence today, turning around the interview. Casey, social media. Good team effort today at CHGO. And, oh, by the way, we got you covered in Paris right now, too. The White Sox guys are interviewing Dylan Cease. What a day it's been.
Vinny's sitting down. Hey, Dylan, what's going on? Peck and company are just drinking wine, getting ready for Bulls Pistons. And
Vinny Shout.
I mean,
Gotta get the hot wine going.
No.
Will Gottlieb's got the best celebration in all of Bulls Twitter every time we win. Do you watch that?
Oh, the little
cat video?
Oh,
cat.
my God.
Is that
I love
his,
that
though?
video.
It has been bequeathed to him by Steph No.
Okay.
Stefan No.
Oh, yeah, right. That's
Yeah.
correct.
It's fantastic.
Good credit to Stefan. But that thing is
But
so
now it's
good.
Will's?
Love it.
It's so good.
Correct. Yeah. Will. Yeah.
I mean, I can watch it like 800 times.
I tried to show that to my
I
wife.
mean, also like Will does different things with it. Like there's one that's just all Dale and Terry dancing. There's one that's this. There's one that's that. Yeah. There's different.
I like when
versions of
MJ's
it.
in there enjoying the tunes.
Of course.
I tried to show that and explain it to my wife one day. And
It's not explainable.
I couldn't explain it. She's like, I don't get it.
just
I'm
gotta-
like,
you
just
gotta
enjoy
feel
it.
It
Just
just
to feel it.
feels good. It's a
Yep.
good beat.
Just enjoy. It's kind of like this show. It doesn't have to make sense. Just enjoy
Just
it.
feel it, enjoy it.
It is what it is.
Bears.
Experience it. We'll be back tomorrow for you to experience it more. Noon. See you then.